This is a kind of A to Z of why tyres are so important. But unfortunately, we haven't got 26 facts, so you'll have to make do with 6. Now, tyres are super important. The right tyre compound and the right tyre pressure go hand in hand. And if you think this is a load of balls, well, I'm going to show you why it isn't. Now, there are dozens of tyre manufacturers on the market, but in general, the same principles apply. And seeing as Maxxis are a partner of ours, we're going to use their tyres as an example. Right, let's begin then with control or lack of it. And it's all to do with, well, it's actually partly to do with compound. Now, what I have here is 2 different compounds. We have a hard compound, and here we have a soft compound. So if you want a lively ride out of your mountain bike, go for the harder compound. But if you want a ride that's got more control and less deflection, then go for the softer compound every day. Now, in general, harder compounds are for longer rides and smoother trails, whereas softer compounds are for more gravity-led riding, where you need more control and more grip on the technical terrain. The terminology used to describe the different compounds can be confusing. In fact, it's a right sticky business. For example, on this Maxxis Minion DHR2, you have a choice of Max Terra, Max Grip, or Super Tacky. Now, when I'm making my choices here, it would be largely based on my bike, the travel, and the type of riding I'm doing. So in this instance, a gravity style ride with technical climbs, I'm going to go for the heaviest tyre to avoid punctures and the softest compound to give me maximum grip. Now remember, different brands have different terminology when it comes to the compound of their tyres. And it's also worth bearing in mind that each tyre with different compound wears out at a different rate. Now, one thing that really is worth tuning into on your e-mountain bike is how much range is affected by the type of tyre that you're using. And this comes down to the tread pattern, the compound, and also the profile of the tyre. Now, whilst I'm stood here with my arm outstretched, we've got a mud tyre and a trail style tyre. Now, you could be looking at upwards of 10 watt hours per every 30 minutes of riding, depending on the type of tyre you're using. And certainly softer compound tyres love taking the energy out of your battery. So it might be worth you actually having different types of tyre for different types of riding that you're doing. Now remember, tyre pressure as well is going to have an effect on the range. So if you're feeling under pressure and you need to get out of the house, then I suggest you inflate your tyres higher so you can get a longer ride in. Braking, traction for climbing, and side support for cornering are all affected by the patternization of the tread of your tyre. Yeah, can you believe it? I actually spell checked that, and there is such a word as patternization. Now, I generally go for 2 different types of tyre, depending on the ground conditions and the time of the year, although here in the UK, it's pretty much wet all the time. Now I'm gonna go through a couple of examples of different tread pattern. Now, starting off with the Minion DHR2, which is a great all year round tyre for climbing, downhill, and general trail use. As you can see, it's got side knobs for support and a ramped leading edge to roll fast and an aggro edge for braking. Next is the Shorty for dry, loose, blown out, or a bit of mud. Now this is the tyre I use from October until March, and sometimes even longer with typical UK weather. So as you can see, there's large, tall, and slightly staggered side knobs here for clearing. So when it comes to choosing the right tread pattern for the type of riding you do, ground conditions are absolutely critical. Now, many of us ride in bike parks or trail centres, and you will never need a tyre such as the Shorty, because a tyre such as the Minion DHR will be quite, sufficient. Thank you, Martin. Keep that rolling. However, if natural adventure riding where raw terrain is the thing, then the Shorty is definitely your go-to tyre. Thanks, Martin, for that help. If, however, speed is your thing and you want a tyre which is easy on the watt hours, then a low profile, lightweight tyre such as this Maxxis Pace could be your tyre. As you can see, it is super low profile. No, this doesn't mean how many litres the tyre holds or in fact how loud they are. It's actually the width. So when people say large volume MTB tyres, they mean wide ones. Now this also affects height. So whereas you can get wide but low profile tyres on cars or vans, on MTB you have a range from about 2 inches to 3 inches. Yes, as much as you love the old metrics, I'm afraid that mountain biking is still working in Imperial. So what do we mean by high volume? Well, usually they're from 2.5 upwards, and I can assure you that a 2.8 or 3-inch tyre really will take the sting out of those rock and root sections. A very, very comfortable tyre. But you do need to bear in mind that some of those tyres have got thin sidewalls, so you need to increase the tyre pressure to prevent them buckling in the corners. Now tyres, like everything in life, vary in weight, and if you've got the wrong tyre in muddy conditions, you could actually be putting on a significant amount of weight in a matter of seconds. So when it comes to tyres, tyre patterns, everything is interrelated. In general, trail tyres are less than 1 kilo in weight, and a good, tough, grippy downhill tyre up to 1.5 kilos. Remember, you need to factor in whether you're going to be running tubeless or not. And indeed, most tyres are these days tubeless ready. So when people worry about weight of their e-bikes, you could save 1 kilo on tyres alone. I think I got everything. Martin, did I miss anything?
Precious.
Ah, of course. Wise words from Martin here at Ace Cycles in Monmouth, and thanks so much guys for putting up with us and delivering some fantastic coffee. So as Martin says, if you haven't got the pressure right, you can have the best tyre in the world and it simply will not matter. So let us know your thoughts on tyres. If you've got any questions about what tyres to use, let us know in the comments down below, and we'll get engaged in a monumental chat about rubber. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Thanks Ace Cycles.